Hey everyone, welcome to another live stream. I know I did one earlier, but in retrospect, that lasted for about 2 hours, and I didn't even get through any of, I guess, the stuff that I have throughout the past history of working at Disney. As some of you may know, I was just shy of 12 years. I would honestly say about a week of 12 years of working at Disney before my family and I moved out of Florida to build a better, bigger life. And that's not bashing Disney at all. Let's be real here. Working at Disney is very wonderful. Some great experiences as well. What I can say to you is there are some things while working at Disney. Disney's very political in a sense of um, specific characteristics, I would say. It's no different than any other business. What else I can say about this stream is I will not be saying anyone's name on this for privacy reasons. For those names I do say, please know I've reached out to them already prior to this, was provided their approval. So any names I do say, it was by approval, like I said, because I don't want their privacy to be in a way. As well as when it comes to certain interactions, I won't say those individuals' names either. I will refer them to she, he, they, them, only because, again, I don't want to say any names. I also want to be respectful in a personal manner too. So, by all means, if you guys are watching this, please enjoy. But otherwise, though, what I want to do is kind of just inform you guys a little heads up and upfront that my career started in 2010 first for the Disney College program. That was back when we stayed at Chatham, Patterson Court, Vista Way was another one, and the Commons too. The Commons was a location for all of the Disney International College program students. Now they're actually living off of property, kind of similar to how I was living, except the fact that it's in a different location. I won't say where. If you want to research where they're living, by all means, that's up to you. But I'm just not going to name where they're living, um, for again privacy reasons. Now, in the very beginning, I was actually over at the Grand Floridian for merchandise. And then I went to attractions at Toy Story Midway Mania. That's kind of when I got rehired because between September to January, I was merchandise at Grand Floridian. And then about 6 month hiatus, only because of the fact that when I was trying to apply, I was applying with the same email address. So I was seeing and catching as if I'm trying to apply again for the college program, which wasn't the case. So I switched my email address. I was able to get rehired back of June of 2011. That was over in attractions, Toy Story Midway Mania at Hollywood Studios. At that point in time, that attraction was the utmost biggest attraction that you can actually go to either visit or work at. That was a must-see location. Longest attraction wait time I've seen while working there was about 3 hours. Honestly, I don't know why they have the fast pass system or why they still have it, because I'll be honest with you, during the times where the fast pass system was down, the line was flowing fairly well in the standby. It may still have hit like an hour or an hour and a half, but that line was continuously moving and you didn't have individuals waiting for like 20, 30 minutes just in one spot. From that point, I did go over to the Polynesian. Now, my time at the Polynesian was very wonderful. It was very homey, I wanted to say, just only because of the fact that the leadership team there is completely polar opposite of kind of what I experienced at Toy Story. And again, I'm not bashing anybody. And if I do have anything to say about certain experiences, I will say as I continue to show you guys what's in this box here. Um, for about 2 years, I was at the Polynesian. And then I moved over to guest experience services. And then from guest experience services, I was under the same umbrella, but I went to the Twitter team as well, at WDW Today, which is no longer a thing, unfortunately. Uh, again, can't really go into too much. I do know that the live stream I did before this, I went into grave detail to the point where I didn't even get to this. And some of the stuff I don't know how much I should have shared. So again, this one is all about the stuff and a little bit of history of working there as well. What I can say is if it comes off as anything negative, please know I still love Disney. I still support their creative mindsets when it revolves around the authenticity or authentic Disney. what they've always stood for in that sense, and what they were known for. So that's kind of where, as far as family values go, that's where the supportive network goes. Um, when it comes to certain other things as well, obviously, don't really agree, but that's just my opinion. Let's just put it that way. Disney is still a wonderful place to work. The opportunities there is still wonderful as far as what they provide to all the cast members. Um, do I think that they should be able to pay different parts a little bit more of a wage? Yes, absolutely. Especially when you see guests punch cast members, which has happened. Guests did punch a cast member that I saw in the arm while I was working at Toy Story, and she left crying. So in situations like that, it was unnecessary. But regardless, though, I'm going to go into the box, kind of show you guys what I have here. And first off, I just want to show to prove to you guys that I have this right here, which is my 10-year anniversary little placard here. And it does have the 10-year pin as well. And on top of that, I did have the opportunity to go to the service awards. Now, the service awards themselves, that is for any cast member for who's been working there for about 10 years and more. So you would actually go to, if you had 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So at that point of 10, it's every 5 years you actually go to this event specifically for cast members. While you're there, they rent out a specific park as well. And the reason why I say that is because it may not be Magic Kingdom all the time. It may be Epcot or Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios. I was fortunate enough to be Magic Kingdom. Some of the stuff that they do provide you is a little lanyard here with the 10-year anniversary. Celebrate You, which kind of goes over the rules and regulations, like the attire, the parking, the registration. I will say that during this time, it was extremely rainy. So of course, the my sister's boyfriend, my buddy, and we actually went to the event, and we ended up running majority of the time. And when we got to Magic Kingdom, we went shirtless because of the fact that, and well, let me rephrase. We went shirtless once we actually got to the park and went into the bathroom. Don't take that anyway, other than that. No, it's not like we walked into Magic Kingdom and we went shirtless and did the whole event shirtless, rode attractions that way. No, no, no. What we did was when we got there, we were soaking wet. We went directly to the bathroom over by the firehouse, and we tried to wring out our shirts as much as possible, try to put them in the dryer. So it was a very fun event, even with that, because we rode attractions that you don't normally get to ride during the day with other guests there. The food was phenomenal, so that was that. The next thing I want to show you guys is, of course, the placard of the Polynesian. I was part of the opening team. And with this, it was a memento because when I transitioned from Toys for Midway Mania to the Polynesian, it was during the time period where they were transitioning everything over to the resorts and bungalows, so becoming a Disney vacation property. And a lot of the team members, as far as or cast members on the front desk and concierge side, was actually a little upset with this. Now that I've grown older, I kind of appreciate this a little bit more because, as you can see behind me, I do have a lot of things that are hung up. So I can easily hang this up, whether if it's in here or where I currently work now. So it could be any one of those things. And honestly, it's better than a jacket because, let's face it, I've gained weight, and my shirt size has gone up. So if I would have been and saved that sweater or saved that jacket, it honestly wouldn't fit me. Not only that, but with the wear and tear to it, this is a little bit more stable and you could secure this a little bit more. It is made by specific wood found in Hawaii, which is kind of interesting as well, but that's that. So there's that part. What's up, Caucasian Sasquatch? And then, of course, we have the time when I was at WDW today. So basically, a social media side of guest experience services. I was able to partake in an event of Star Wars Galactic Nights that was being held at Hollywood Studios. During this time period, what we did was we created tweets and posts that would go proactive, basically, where you're posting a tweet for everybody to follow you and kind of like a scavenger hunt in a way, like find us here, find us there. So then that way, what they could do is they could take photos with us, a little bit more interaction. Honestly, sadly enough, at WDW today, I also have some buttons too. I have two of these. This Twitter feed or X feed, uh, as it's no longer Twitter, is no longer the thing. Unfortunately, and this is the information that I have, is the fact that our Twitter team, it gained more guests, it got more interactions, it gained much more momentum than the actual marketing Walt Disney World Twitter. Yeah, so a group of cast members before my time created this team, and within like 3 or 4 years, it gained so much more momentum than the actual corporate Twitter that essentially people over there got really upset because it was also marketing where you would go out and you would kind of adventure through and advertise things. And the interactions that we would do with the guests and the people on the Twitter feed was very well done, to the point where the marketing team was, I guess, jealous in a way. I think that's how it was perceived to me, and basically shut that portion down to the point where they no longer did the marketing. This was after my time, which I did have a poor experience during that transition. To put it lightly and less in detail than last time, there's a specific individual who gained um, managerial or leadership of that area. And I'll be honest, I don't know what she thought of me. Only because when I tried to get into guest experience services, I was told that the information would be relayed to her, as far as getting me back into guest experience services. Because when I first started there, it was only a temporary assignment. Then I went back to my home location and I tried to get back in. And when I tried to do that, I tried to tell my friends and everybody who was in the department, hey, I want back in. Hey, I want back in. I want back in. I want to be in this location. And all that information was like, okay, well, we'll share it with such and such individual. When I got the call to go back, it wasn't that individual. And the gentleman who called me, which was kind of like a father figure within that office for me, like somebody who I would always try to make, I guess, proud, or try to, in a way, to please and do my hardest work as much as possible, because he wanted me to see me succeed in life and everything. And that's what a good leader does, is wants to see their cast members succeed. And I mentioned to him, I was like, hey, did so and so mention this or mention that? And he goes, no, they never reached out to me. So that was strike one. Strike two was the fact that I went in to being a trainer. I did the interview. Now, I was a trainer at Polynesian, which they sought me out. I didn't become a trainer on my own will. They said, hey, you want to be a trainer? I said, okay. And they made me one. And then Toy Story, I wanted to be a trainer. And so they provided me the opportunity to be one. And same way with guest experience services. But the first time I tried out for it, the individual that didn't share the information, I guess, she was the one that was doing the interviews, and she said I didn't get it. Like, okay, no big deal. At that time, didn't see an issue. The third strike came in when because I was a temporary assignment over in the Twitter team, and I really wanted to stay. I didn't want to go back, because originally, I guess that location, the location I was prior, didn't want to see me leave because, quote unquote, I was too much of an asset for that location. So, which kind of, made me happy in a certain way, because it meant that I was doing a good job, but also meant that they didn't want to see me fulfill where I wanted to go. So during the time period, because I was from August to, no, I was February, and then a few months after that, then I was supposed to go back, but the person who was there originally fought for me to stay, and I loved her. She was great. She said, you'll get full time, everything. So I was like, yes, this is where I'm going to be. They ended up Xing her out in favor of the individual who kind of did two strikes on me. And that individual gave me the opportunity to interview for the position. Now, leading up to this, all I could say is I really want the position. I want it. Keep it. I want to stay here. This is where I want my career to be. And I even came into the interview with a suit on, to the point where they asked, hey, you look nice. I said, thank you. You got to dress for what you like. Ultimately, I tried to sell myself on why I wanted the position and showcased how much I wanted to stay there. Now, the individual that they gave it to, within a week after interviewing, she was showboating the whole entire time. She would tell everybody that she got the position. Now, during that week, everybody who went in for an interview was told no. I waited an extra week until I knew everybody was done. I didn't hear anything back. So I spoke to the individual who gave me the interview, who didn't pass along the information, who told me no to be a trainer. And she was like, "Oh, nobody got with you or you weren't told?" I said, No, not at all." And ultimately, she stated, "I didn't get it because I didn't show enough enthusiasm of wanting to be there." So that was strike three. So I don't know what the ordeal was, but ultimately, unfortunately, at WDW kind of just didn't go much after that. The next thing, of course, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Of course, this is the map and everything from 2012. So this is the map from 2012 here. That's a little memento. The one thing that the Twitter team did do is they were able to provide the opportunity to showcase their cast members whenever they do everything wonderfully well. So, for an example, they did a thank you. These are my personal ones, where you can see that I have about three. And during this, these are actual tweets from guests, mainly thanking me. We did go by stage last names, not stage first names. So what that means is we didn't have guests look us up in social media. Perfect example of that is another cast member, guest stage name. She was speaking to a guest, and the guest actually looked her up on social media. And he was talking about, the amount of kids she had or what she does. Now, the individual that he looked up was not her, obviously, but it kind of shows you the security and the level that is needed for those stage names, right? So this one is your cast member, Todd Barnes, and guest experience services is just brilliant. He has managed my compliment with efficiency and professionalism despite the time difference and never once made me feel like I was making a fuss over nothing. One huge cast compliment for that guy. Another one was OMG, you're amazing. Can I have your name and give you a cast compliment? So that was another one. And then, this isn't really much of a cast compliment, but it says, congratulations for 12 years. That was after I moved. So that was kind of funny. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go into the box of stuff because ultimately this was planned out months ago. I wanted to do this like 3 months, but life gets in the way. And ultimately, majority of the stuff in here is going to be shredded, thrown out because it's a lot of personal stuff. And many of the stuff here, I can't really sell, obviously, because not only would that go against any sort of NDA, but pretty sure it's illegal. So not going to do that. Going to shred it. Going to throw it away. A receipt that doesn't show anything. A ticket to see Flying Tigers, which is the Lakeland Flying Tigers, I guess. Here's a Ticketmaster stub for Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark whenever they did that little Broadway show. So I'm going to keep this to the side. You have a 9/11 memorial. So I'm going to keep that one, Phantom of the Opera. So essentially the Phantom of the Opera tickets are opportunities for cast members. Like they do cast events and stuff that you can win things or be able to go to certain events. I just so happened to win these tickets to go see it at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts. So that was a cool thing to go to. Of course, here's some other stuff like Ticketmaster to see. Okay, that's irrelevant. So this one is Tampa Bay. Okay, that's irrelevant. So some of the stuff apparently is irrelevant. And then, but here we go. So these are some fast passes that you'll see here that are no longer available, obviously, because they've switched into more electronic. So you have one for Rock and Roller Coaster. You have a recovery fast pass, just in case if like a attraction goes down, then you would provide those two guests specifically. Another recovery one. And then, of course, the Toy Story Midway Mania fast pass here. Just so then that way it's, again, this is the time, the date that they would have to show up. This is from 2012. So I'm going to keep like 1, 2, 3 of these, and then the rest I'll just go ahead and shred. And then here we go. I won't show this because this is a bank card from when I was a cast member. Basically, they would give you a bank card, and that would kind of be like your debit card in a way. So I'm going to shred that. but the old blue main entrance pass is here. Then you would have, well, that's a Universal Halloween Horror Nights. They would also provide you a holiday celebration ticket as well. Back in the day, this would kind of assist you in getting either more guests into the park, because essentially, when you're a cast member, and I can honestly say this because we tell it to everybody, is you can get 3 people in. Um, well, 3 times up to 16 people a year. So, for an example, if you have 3 family members coming to visit you, you can use it 16 different times. And then, of course, you have some room keys here. Back when they did the key to the world, right here. The other ones that I do have, though, that's another key to the world, are more of testers, because back when they were trying to do the RFID media, these are the testers here that would kind of. I was part of a testing program where I was able to stay at the Wilderness Lodge. And that's the other thing, too, is whenever they do any testings or anything like this, obviously they use cast members, not so much to say as guinea pigs, but have the opportunity to experience this and then provide their feedback on it, just because of the fact that, they want to make sure that they're doing everything correctly. Let's see. This is plane ticket. Don't need that. That's a main entrance pass again. Some more of the RFID. Here's another celebration one from 2012, which is kind of cool because, like I said, a lot of the stuff I saved just to showcase my kids in the future, but ultimately they're just going to be garbage anyways. So this right here, I don't know if I could show you it, but it helps maintain the truth of the line, like the wait time. So again, I don't know if I could really show it to you, but essentially, well, what it is it's a RFID card, and you scan it at the beginning of the entrance, and they scan it at the end. So it kind of showcases the wait time and the most accurate time. We would send those out like every 15 minutes or so to make sure that the wait time is always updated. I don't even know if they use those anymore. Honestly, there are many cast members who accidentally took those at home or to home, forgetting them like in your pocket and stuff. Another key to the world. Oh no, this is for a Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Little attraction there. Well, event. Another 2011 celebration, family holiday one. And the other thing too is about with these family holidays is the fact that you can also go miniature golfing. I think you could only choose one. So that was an interesting aspect. Excuse me. So it's kind of interesting. Then, of course, I have a card here. Saratoga Springs, it looks like. Let's see. I think this is when I helped out the location because they were just coming on with building Disney Vacation Club and stuff. And it says, Dear Todd, your great guest service had a lasting impression on the Hooten family. Thank you for demonstrating the four keys basics by going above and beyond. You care and attention will become a great Disney memory they will treasure for years to come. You made a difference to this family. So, which is kind of cool. Of course, with that, be able to provide the opportunity for that family, because that's the whole thing as being a cast member, is making sure that every family gets the most memorable time that they can. Obviously, we can't please everybody. There are certain times where people do get really upset and there's just no way to recover it. In some way, shape, or form, Disney sometimes does create their own animals or monsters, I should say, only because of the fact that there are certain situations where Disney just provides everything and they shouldn't provide everything, especially when it's not appropriate. So for an example, if somebody stubs their toe, I'm not going to give you a park ticket for that because you stubbed your toe. If you're walking backwards and then you turn around and you run into the wall, we're not going to give you a free stay. But for some reason, there are some individuals, some guests who actually think that that's okay and that's what you should provide them. So at some basis, some guests are understanding, where others, they just demand. And sometimes, fortunately, they get their way. So I believe this letter too is part of it. Yeah, basically that same family, they had a wonderful vacation, specifically for the management staff and the cast member. And then they point me out and saying, let's see here, However, I would like to call out specific attention to a young man who checked us in at reception. His name is Ton. Unfortunately, I did not ask his last name. So the best identifier that I can provide is that he is from Michigan, which I am from a small town of Dowagiac, Michigan, even though his nameplate said Florida. And that's only because of the fact that, um, you know, I grew up in a small town called Dowagiac, Michigan, but also had the opportunity to move down to Florida with family and be able to start the career there. Let's see. Let's see here. The other thing too is we have a whole bunch, and this is the thing that cast members could recognize one another with. Is it's called the Four Keys Fanatic cards, which the back is like this. They actually included 5. So originally a safety, courtesy, show, efficiency. Now it's safety, courtesy, show, efficiency, and inclusion. I didn't quite understand why they added the 5th key, because courtesy should cover inclusion. Doesn't matter who you are, where you align with, or religion, or anything in that nature. The courtesy aspect is always being able to include everybody that you can, as long as you can, and it shouldn't matter no matter what, because like I said, it doesn't matter who you are, what religion, or who you identify, or anything like that. We're all human, and in all honesty, you should be included as much as possible when you can be. Obviously, if you're going into a show and the show is packed, well, we can't include you in that. So it shouldn't go against, the whole inclusion aspect, as it would just be safety protocol, right? But so they added the 5th key, but essentially, like I said, all these right here, they are all through the career that I had. Some of them saying is doing a great job. Let's see if I can get one that's actually legible that I can actually read. Great job in helping out your fellow cast members. I hope that someday the favor is returned. Doing an amazing job at merge, utilizing one party at the time. Thanks for always trying to remove garbage from the vehicles and building and keeping everything look good. Let's see. Did an amazing job at handling in critical situations. Let's see if I can't find a different one. Excellent comments from a guest. So basically and essentially what that is they leave comments and reviews, and if you're mentioned, then you would get one of these. And essentially what these would go for are any sort of prizes, or like quarterly awards, monthly rewards, that kind of thing. It also goes on your record card too as a positive thing, though they don't really look at it the higher you go in business standpoint. So like office of technical roles, stuff like that, they don't really look at it. For recognizing Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of the stuff is just thank you, thank you, thank you. Did an excellent job at stocking something. I can't read it, unfortunately. Attempting to reach out to partners to assist a guest who was planning her day. So even like that. So it's kind of cool. I may keep like 1 or 2 of them. Just so then that way, it's before and actually, no, I'll just toss them. I got my lei from when I first started at the Polynesian, so that can be trashed. But let's see. Also, the Star Wars Galactic Nights 2, during my time with the Twitter team, had the opportunity to have like a little map and a little layout here. Basically a special edition of a telecast. So a telecast is what is utilized for a cast member to go ahead and have the information for all the guests. So for an example, offerings and giveaways, the locations for them, the attractions, what's opened, merchandise locations, certain popcorn buckets. They have like a miniature map as well that's included on this too. So that's kind of cool and interesting. Span that out a little bit more. There we go. So that's kind of tells you a little bit more about the event. So that's kind of cool and interesting. Let's see. Entertainment times. Character meet and greets like Jawas, Ewoks, First Order, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, Captain Phasma, Seventh Sister, Tusken Raiders. And of course, your usual stuff like Mickey and Minnie, Olaf, Buzz Lightyear, and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool in that sense. I don't really need any of that. That's an X-Men Age of Apocalypse ticket that I have. It's going somewhere else. I can't really share this. Ultimately, what would happen is ultimately what would happen is we would get emails, and they would be dear fellow employee. If you search some of them up in Google, you can find them. I won't specifically say what these are, just because as of right now, what I'm doing is I'm writing a screenplay. I've already wrote a screenplay on the first half of my life being in high school. The next section is going to be, or next screenplay I write is going to be about Dear Fellow Employee. That's going to be the title. Right now, the first screenplay I wrote, which can, I honestly, I believe you can find it on my LinkedIn. It's called Dear Me. This Dear Fellow Employee is basically going over the yearly earnings, fiscal year, stuff like that. So, I mean, again, I don't know how much I can share with you guys, but ultimately, this is something I don't think I can, especially when I do know that some individuals have not linked, have leaked it to other blog sites, which, again, if you follow any blog sites, some of them can be okay. My time while working at Twitter, unfortunately, a lot of blog sites would kind of not really dismantle, but they would talk trash about the Twitter team because the information they would gather is completely different than what we would have. That's only because of location or somebody leaked more information to them when they weren't supposed to. So that's the thing is whenever it comes to information about Disney, every cast member will tell you go to legit Disney sites, don't go off of blog sites. Yeah, some of it's kind of true, but majority of the time though, things do change all the time, and that's what you should go about with. Um, this one is what is this? Oh, some of this stuff is about how well I did. So essentially, what this is an annual performance review. What they would do is they would kind of ask you how you think you did, and kind of chalk it up to how you really did or what they believe that you did. The one gripe I do have um, about some of this stuff is essentially the raises. During my time in office and technical with some of the positions, they would put raises for cast members, but it wouldn't be raised as far as your ability or better than other businesses. Unfortunately, it got to the point where they would raise you to what other businesses are paying for a equal position. So, for an example, if you work at one corporation and I work at this corporation, if you would raise your employees payment wise up one, unfortunately, we would only be matched that. We want to go higher. So it's just keeping you at that level to where, you're not really gaining anything if you left or if you stayed, which is kind of really disappointing because a lot of individuals, don't get me wrong, everybody's lifestyle, everybody's living style is completely different. So when it comes to individuals who are living in hotels, yes, partially that is true. But I will tell you, while working in attractions and resorts, I was booking 40 plus hours. Sometimes I worked 50, 60, 80 hours a week. And that was helpful, yes. But again, with that whole raise factor in there, it wasn't that helpful in some cases. We would also receive Eyes and Ears, which are employee magazines here. You may have seen it if you're from Florida. You may have seen it at your local location if you're in Central Florida, and that's only because of cast members bringing it in. So essentially, of course, that is the Eyes and Ears for the Halloween party. Then you would go into Eyes and Ears. Of course, that is with Tim Allen and Buzz Lightyear. The Toy Story Land is another one here. I can just show you guys. Bring that a little bit lower. There we go. So that's a few of them. I may keep some of them. I may just trash them. The rest of them. And of course, here's another one with Slinky Dog for Toy Story. Let's see here. I can flip through some of these rather quickly. And then you have Wild Africa track. You have the lights in there. Let's see here. There's villains because at one point they did a night of villains where you get a special event and ticket that you could go to. There's New York one. I think this is, that's nothing. So I can just go ahead and get rid of that. But some of this stuff, like I said, I'm going to keep, and some of them I'm not. They have one specifically about the fantasy cruise line. I believe that's what it is for the year 2012. So that's there. Then you do have other ones like the 2011 in review, some more theater stubs, I guess. And then let's see. This is more of the whole diversity of Disney too. So that's in there. Let's see here. So this is actually stuff that I've written down that had to deal with attractions. Now I will say that when attractions do go down, it is called a 101. And I mean, you'll hear cast members say it out loud. And what that means is that the attraction actually went down, which is a benefit and not so much of a benefit. Not so much because, of course, guests aren't experiencing that attraction, but a benefit sometimes to cast members because it provides us an opportunity to have a little bit of downtime, a little bit of a breathing. Because sometimes we're just going in and out, like go, 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 go. And many times with the downtime portion of it, what will happen is we have the opportunity to go and talk to guests and interact with guests and see who they are, where they're from, and how, if there's anything we could do to make it better, please believe me, be able to do it better. There's a Halloween one as well from 2011. This one is actually has a cover of a gentleman that was the longest running as far as a greeter goes at Disney's Grand Floridian. And unfortunately, this gentleman passed. His name is Richard. So I do have that one right there. Let's see. It looks like 60 years of Imagineering. So that's one of them as well that I have here. D23 Expo is on here. So that was from 2013, it looks like. So that's from 2013. Another 4 keys that says, thank you for jumping in to help move boxes upstairs. So that was from Polynesian. You do have a Disneyland one from 2016. It looks like an Entertainment Times guide. So that's interesting there. Disneyland guide map as well. I guess this must have been the first time I don't think it was the first time I went to Disneyland. I think it might have been guests that provided it to me. I don't really remember because some of these actually are old maps. Like you have the old California Adventure one. Then you have the MGM one when it used to be MGM and now it's Hollywood Studios. You have the Star Wars weekends, which was in a weekend within the year around like May 4th, where the whole weekend was Star Wars based in Hollywood Studios, and that would be the theme of it. So another Star Wars weekends. Just making sure you guys can see all this. I don't know if you can or not. Okay, yeah, you can. Frankenweenie. Then you have the Disneyland one again. Another Frankenweenie. Disneyland again. And then back to the original spot that we started at. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now I can see what you guys could see. And then, of course, the more theater ticket stubs. This one looks to be a hula. Oh, so if you're part of the Polynesian, you could sign up for a hula-thon. So what you are doing is you're participating in a hula competition. And I guess this is my time during a hula competition. So I still have that. I'm pretty sure if my wife is watching this, we'll fortunately watch this one day. But there's that. And then, this is during the time of the Osborne Spectacle Dancing Lights. Of course, this is when I was working there during that time period. This location is no longer there. This is where they had the dancing lights from the Osbornes from Arkansas. They donated it to Disney. The lights are now located and part of Give Kids the World, which is an organization down in Central Florida. Very similar to like Make-A-Wish a little bit, except for theme park wise. I'm actually going to hold on to that because that's nice. This is a Bloomberg, so that doesn't really match with Disney. Congratulations on the 5 years. So this was my 5-year service anniversary. Don't really need this anymore since 10. Then this one is Beginnings. Oh, another 5 years one. So this one has Pluto onto it. So kind of interesting. Congratulations for 6 years. So Peter Pan for 6, I guess. So that can be, of course, trashed. Guest experience services right here. There you go. Let's see. A little bit of the Muppet stickers. Don't really need this. Let's see. A single rider for Indiana Jones Adventure from Disneyland. So I got that. It looks like a Warwick Davis signature from when he was part of Star Wars Weekends. Forgot I had that. Oh, this is some tickets from the Disney Walt Disney Family Museum over in San Francisco. This is during the time period where they had the expedition or exhibit for Snow White. So I was able to see a lot of the Snow White stuff, like the hand drawing, see the animation and how they did the animation, and many other things too. So that was really cool. Again, with the Walt Disney Family Museum there, another Walt Disney Family Museum. I also did get a chance to go do a double feature, which was Frankenweenie and The Nightmare Before Christmas. So that was kind of interesting, as well as apparently I have some cards from there too. Don't know, completely forgot about that, but yeah, some cards from going to see the movie. A little bit more cards as far as RFID goes. So of course you have the Donald, a little bit more of the family celebration stuff. Again, all these are going to be shredded because there's no need for it, as well as it's technology and don't really need them. The other thing too is I have a buttload of Disney's 60th anniversary theme park tickets as well that was used during the time I was a cast member. I was able to go there and visit. Let's see here. Some of the old school Polynesian postcards that I have here too. So that's kind of cool. Definitely going to keep those. Man, I'm losing room over here. Night of Joy, which Night of Joy used to be an event similar to what Universal still does. Night of Joy is done at Disney, at Magic Kingdom. Essentially, it is a Christian festival. That is where you're going to have a lot of your bands like Mercy Me, Skillet, that would actually perform in the parks. It's kind of like its own little mini festival, I would say, where you'd have attractions and locations for when the bands would play. So, like I said, Mercy Me, Switchfoot, I think, Skillet was there. So there was tons of bands that would actually show up, and it wasn't just one night. I think it was like 3 consecutive nights. But unfortunately, it started to get canceled because of the fact that there was many not so Christian-based stuff that was happening during those time periods. And I can't go too much into detail about it, but let's just say that the kids, they weren't acting very Christian, like, let's just put it that way, very inappropriately. And I'm not saying like jumping off of fences, using language, just different things, and I'll just leave it at that. Let's see, and then Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party part of there. This is my milestone. So that's when I first started. This was a spotlight. So this is my time at Hollywood Studios, where I was much more skinnier, as you can see, and less hairy, as you will see from the lesser part of the beard. Let's see. Oh, got a little Polynesian thing here. And it looks like a photo. Could be a photo. Yep. So essentially, when we switched over to the new outfits, the new designs. So this is the team of the Polynesian cast members. And then this is these are the new outfits to what we switched to. So I believe, yep, move my finger right there. That's me right there. So that's a little memento that I should actually keep. So definitely going to keep that. Like I said, some of the stuff I am going to keep, some of it I'm going to throw away or garbage. Star Wars Half Marathon. So that's a road closure map on that. Times guide, another informational piece. It looks like another guest service thing. It just says you are awesome. So there we go on that. Woohoo. That looks like a pressed penny. A 60th anniversary Disneyland bag. Let's see. It looks like another. Gee, holy crap. Why did I keep so much crap? Another guest service stuff right here with the words. So I have many of those, specifically Polynesian wise, Aloha Day. So that's all of this information. A plusogram is something different. So where I showed you guys those little short pieces of paper, a plausogram is when a guest would actually go to guest relations and compliment you. So this one specifically says, guest son had accident while waiting in line for Toy Story. Todd got them re-ads to experience the attraction again, and also assisted in getting the child new clothes. Todd was very courteous and respectful. Thank you for going above and beyond. So, like I said, as cast members, it is the duty and honestly the job for us to make sure that everything goes as smooth as possible for you. Even when there's not much going on, still try to make it as enjoyable as possible. 2010 Disney College Program Guide, another college program guide, traditions guide, and let's see, what's this? All right, so I met my wife while being at Guest Experience Services, and I can say that's probably the best moment of my life. Obviously, besides having kids, that was another great, fantastic moment in my life. But when her and I met, it, I had a joke as far as calling her a sour patch because she would be sweet on one side and then she would just give off quirks, like just one liners. And they were very smart aleck liners. So I'd call her, sour patch because it was one of those times where she would be sweet and then she would get off that one line that would just make me laugh. Like, ooh, you got a good one in there. So obviously I'm definitely going to keep this. It's something that she personally wrote. I'm not going to say exactly what it is because it is personal. Not in anything bad or sweet. It's just something for us specifically. So yeah, I do know that it's been going on for about 46 minutes. Um, Honestly, besides that one event at Twitter on the Twitter team where I had no idea where that supervisor or manager was going for, because again, she did hold me back 3 times. I have no idea why. There were very little personal experiences that I had um, that wouldn't deter anybody from working there. Because, like I said, working at Disney is wonderful. If you get a chance, you should do it just for the experience alone. And not only that, but it looks great on the resume. Ultimately, though, I personally left because needed to focus on family. There were other things going in life that was making it difficult. Not so much on family side, but life in general. And of course, when you have a family, the focus should be on the immediate family. So that would be wife and kids in my circumstance. And ultimately, if Disney provided me the opportunity to work from home, I probably would still be there. And I'm sorry, work from home, but also work out of state. I would probably still be there. But ultimately, though, it is a journey that everybody should go through or experience at least once. If it's for you, great. If not, that's okay. Being a Disney cast member is very memorable, and you do get a lot of memorable, positive experiences that, you know, I don't think you get to experience anywhere else. Um, and when you create a connection with some of the cast members there, it's a very some of it can be brother sisterhood, yeah. Others is a little bit more in depth as far as closeness that you get with everybody there, and ultimately you build a bonding that is more of connectivity that lasts for a very long time. One of my leaders from the Polynesian, he actually left Disney way, way, way before I did. And we currently live not too far away from him. And I reached out to him and, being able to meet up with him and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that yet, but it kind of showcases the bondmanship that Disney has and helps create for everybody there. It's I can't really say anything negative about that bondmanship. Everybody's experience is always going to be different no matter what you do. What I can say is if you're going for the college program, make sure you graduate before you become full time because the graduation is key. I tried really hard to be in the graphic design field in that area. And honestly, it was found with a lot of nepotism as far as favorite. And of course, that goes along the lines of favoritism because you had to know somebody in order to get to somewhere. My leaders through the Polynesian, through guest experience services, and through, well, I mean, I ended at the human resources side, but ultimately the Polynesian and guest experience services, they were so helpful in trying to push me and get me to where I wanted to be. Fortunately, though, it's very much a struggle, and it was a lot harder than what I anticipated. Uh, where I ended up being at HR side of things is a little different. HR, of course, it's a larger scale. Let's just put it that way, because you're dealing with individuals, cast members who work at Hulu, Fox, ESPN, everywhere, right? So you can't have one centralized location, otherwise the phone lines will be boggled down all the time, 24/7. So there, with that, of course, we have to feed it to other departments within one solid department, and that honestly helped me build a much more career. But regardless, though, the Polynesian still did provide me the opportunity to do some design work just on a smaller level. As far as cast members go, there are many, and majority of them are really nice. They're very sweet. If you're going as a guest, they'll try their hardest to make sure that your visit is going as wonderful as possible. If you're a cast member there, it's some of the strongest bondmanships, but I'm not going to lie, there are individuals who are there that you have to be careful just because of the fact that they're out for themselves. One experience I had was at the Polynesian. They provided me the opportunity to design some of the cast oriented stuff and the guest stuff, very small, minimum stuff, but I enjoyed it. I liked it very much because it gave me and provided me the opportunity to design where I hadn't designed yet. And there's one person that came through and they said, "What are you doing back here?" At this point, they knew what I was doing back there. Everybody knew what I was doing back there because the leaders provided me the opportunity to get off of the front desk and actually design the stuff for the cast members, because it was a cast member activity basically. And the conversation that I had was the individual said, "What, you think you're better than everyone else? You think you're just as," or it was along the lines, "I do know 100%." Um, the sentence that was said is, "What, you think you're better than everyone else? Are you just like Josh?" Which I talked to Josh earlier today, and he gave me a full yes, go ahead. Um, Josh actually has his own YouTube channel, and I believe it's E3238. It is a Epcot. And he's very well done as far as graphic design go, animation, music. It's very wonderful. So if Josh does see this, he will leave a comment providing a link to his YouTube channel and social media. Please, I encourage that because the dude is phenomenal in the artistry that he provides. But the notion of basically saying that to me was very rude, and it was rude to Josh because Josh is a very nice guy. And nobody thought that they were better than themselves, but just to get that in that sense, um, I it came off really bad. Um, because it was meant it. It was very meant. So that was a negative experience. Um, the other thing too was before I left to go from Polynesian to guest experience services, that same individual said that I'm not going to like it. I'm going to be here in the next 2 weeks, which was not the case. I fulfilled about 5 years at guest experience services. So if that tells you anything, and again, position, talked to some very interesting guests, wonderful guests as well. Some days were harder, yes, but it just depends on where you go, really. Um, but ultimately, those two phrases stuck with me, and it has stuck. And yeah, it's a very first world issue, but I'm not trying to paint a picture where Disney is amazing to work with or amazing to work at because honestly, it is. It is a very well done business strategy area, but I'm also not going to sugarcoat it in the fact of some individuals that work there are in for themselves or do say those certain things. So I won't, I'll be honest with that. But altogether, though, like I said, if you do get a chance to do it, absolutely 100% do it. And be nice to the cast members there if you are a guest. I do know sometimes they may be rude because sometimes it can come off that way. But please know that's not the intent at all. The intent is always to make sure that everybody has an enjoyable time. You may have caught them at a bad timing, but regardless though, they'll still try to make your day worth it. So if they act rude or if they seem rude, just be patient, especially during now. I remember a time period where Thanksgiving was slow, early February was slow. It's not slow anymore, guys. It is all the time busy, especially during COVID. That was bad too because when they first opened the park, it was very busy. Cast members were working so many hours to the point where it was running them dragged. Because no college program students were coming in, no international individuals were coming in. So that's kind of what you have to keep in mind as well. Um, but yeah, just make sure that you're good to the cast members always, be understanding, and cast members always be understanding what the guests do, because ultimately the main goal is to make sure that everybody has an enjoyable time no matter what. And like I said, I can't sell this enough that if you guys do get a chance to work there, do it. If it's not in your career basis, then leave the company and come back to what you want to do. But other than that, I want to thank you guys because it's almost at an hour. I don't want to make it 2 hours like last time because that was a lot and I didn't even get through anything that was in the shoebox. So at least we got through that. Um, but yeah, if you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Follow us on all social platforms. And I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. And we'll see you next time. And thank you for the support.